All right, so, you go through your day, right? Ads everywhere, friends asking for favors, even just like navigating a crowded store, I
It's
mean.
constant. Yeah.
Someone is always trying to, get you to do something to influence you.
Oh, absolutely. And it's amazing how much of it we just don't even realize is happening. These are like real psychological tricks.
Right, not like mind control stuff, but
Oh, no.
real tactics backed by research, which is kind of what we're looking at today.
Exactly. Yeah.
You sent over a bunch of research on this, and honestly, some of it is a little freaky.
Oh, yeah.
Like subliminal touch,
Mm-hmm.
saying no on purpose to get what you want.
Uh-huh.
Even just like showing up can be a tactic.
Yeah. Presence. It's powerful stuff. But, the goal today is instead of being played, let's learn how the game works
I like that.
so that you can recognize these tricks when they happen and honestly, maybe even use some of them yourself. Ethically, of course.
Okay, I'm into that. So, reading through all this research, it seems like this idea of reciprocity is at the heart of a lot of this stuff.
It's fundamental, really. This norm of reciprocity basically means we're hardwired to want to return favors. It's like that guy at the gas station,
Oh, yeah.
washes your windshield without asking and then
Yeah.
expects a tip.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, but you almost always feel obligated to give them something, even though you never asked for it.
I do, yeah. It's like they've created this feeling of debt, even if it's like unwanted debt.
Exactly. It's unwanted, but it's powerful.
And it makes you think of like the free trials, right?
Yeah.
For software or apps, they give you something for free. And then you're like, oh, maybe I should subscribe.
Exactly. Because you feel like you kind of owe them,
Yeah.
even before you've actually paid anything. It's really clever.
Is it the same thing with like the little handwritten notes you sometimes see on restaurant bills?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I always tip more when they do that.
Oh, for sure. Same principle. They do something nice,
Yeah.
even small, and we feel compelled to give back. It's smart.
It really is. Okay, what about mirroring?
Mirroring.
This one feels a little, I don't know, creepy to me. Like something out of The Office.
Uh-huh. Right. Like Andy Bernard.
Yes.
Well, there's actually a real psychological phenomenon behind it called the chameleon effect.
Okay.
It's not just about, copying someone's every move, but subtle adjustments
Okay.
that make us seem more like the person we're talking to.
So like if someone leans in while they're talking, should I lean in too?
It's not quite that literal. It's more about general posture and energy.
Yeah.
And it's got to be subtle,
Okay, got it.
like almost unconscious, because there's a link between perception and behavior. We see a behavior and we're more likely to mirror it, without even thinking about it.
Okay, so if a salesperson is like subtly mirroring their customer's body language, is that what they're doing? They're trying to trigger that.
Exactly, yeah. Building rapport. By mirroring, they're trying to create this feeling of we're on the same wavelength with their customer.
Makes them more likely to buy stuff.
Yeah, basically. When someone seems similar to us, we tend to trust them more.
Oh, okay, that's fascinating.
Powerful stuff.
So, all right, the door in the face technique.
Ah, yes.
This one's wild. Saying no can actually get me what I want.
It can.
Really?
The idea is you start with a big request, something the other person will turn down.
Okay.
And then you follow up with your real request, which seems smaller by comparison.
So, like, if I want to ask my boss for a raise, I should first ask for a month-long vacation.
Maybe not that extreme.
Yeah.
But you get the idea. Make that first request big.
Okay.
Guaranteed rejection. Then when you hit them with the real, smaller request, they're way more likely to say yes.
Is it just because they feel bad for already saying no?
It's a little deeper than that. They see your smaller request as a favor you're doing for them.
Okay.
You've conceded, right?
Right.
So it triggers that reciprocity thing again. They feel like they should reciprocate.
Wow, okay. I have totally fallen for this without even realizing it.
Oh, I'm sure we all have.
I remember once I was selling cookies for a fundraiser. I started by asking people to buy a whole case. Nobody did, of course.
Of course.
But then I offered just one box, and so many people said yes.
See? It works. It's about balance, like a negotiation. Each side gives a little to get to an agreement.
Okay, let's talk about something that feels super relevant right now with all the,
What's that?
the news and everything. The power of repetition. This pops up everywhere in this research.
It does. Yeah, it can be worrying.
It's a little scary, actually.
How so?
Like, even if you know something is wrong, if you see it repeated enough times on social media or wherever.
You start to believe it.
Yeah.
It's called the illusory truth effect.
Eh.
And Yeah, social media is a breeding ground for this. Misinformation spreads like wildfire.
So what can we do? I mean, is the takeaway that the more we see a claim repeated online, the more skeptical we should be?
Especially if it's coming from sources you don't fully trust.
Okay, good advice. So don't believe everything you read just because you see it everywhere.
Exactly. Repetition does not equal truth. Always double check your sources.
All right, let's move on to a classic. Marketing classic.
Which one?
Scarcity, limited time offer. Get it before it's gone.
Haha. Yep, we've all seen it.
It's everywhere.
It is. Online ads, those flash sales at stores, always a countdown timer ticking away.
Ugh, it gets me every time.
It's the scarcity principle at work. Plays right into our fear of missing out.
It makes us want it more.
Totally. Our brains say, this thing must be valuable if it's rare.
And it's not just products, right?
Right.
Like, have you ever noticed people using this, like, in dating?
Oh, absolutely.
Playing hard to get, to seem more desirable.
It's the same principle. Scarcity creates this, like, aura of exclusivity. You got to act fast, before it's too late.
So sneaky. Okay, so our notes say that even just how we say something can be a psychological tool.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
We're talking about projecting confidence,
Okay.
even if you don't feel totally confident yourself.
So is it as simple as, like, swapping out I think or maybe for I know and I'm certain,
It can be that simple, yeah.
even if the content is the same?
It's about how you frame it. Confidence, even just in how we speak, it comes across as competence.
Like, people are more likely to trust you.
Exactly. If you sound sure of yourself, people are more likely to be persuaded.
It's like that saying, fake it till you make it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, kind of. But in this case, you're faking confidence to make your ideas sound stronger.
Got it. I need to work on my confident language.
We all do.
Okay, this next one is kind of funny. Using people's names. There's, like, a psychological power to that?
There really is.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in a loud room, completely tuned out, and then suddenly you hear your name?
Oh, yeah. It's like a superpower. Cuts through all the noise.
Exactly. It's the cocktail party effect. Our brains are filtering for important information, and our names are right at the top of the list.
Okay, so salespeople do this all the time, right? Like, they use your name a lot.
They do. It's a way to keep you focused on them and what they're saying.
So if I want to make sure someone's really paying attention, I should use their name more.
It can help.
Then.
But like anything, you don't want to overdo it.
Right. Okay, this one's crazy. Just being present can influence people just by showing up.
Sounds strange, right?
Neither.
But they did a study. Had some women just sit in on college classes.
Really?
They didn't talk to anyone, didn't participate, just showed up consistently.
And that had an effect on the other students.
Yeah. The more classes they attended, the more likable and trustworthy they were rated.
So just being there regularly
Creates familiarity, and familiarity breeds liking.
it makes you think, like, how does this play out online? In online communities and social media?
That's a great question. It's got to be relevant there, too.
Okay, get ready, because this next one is truly mind-blowing. Spontaneous trait transference.
Ooh, yeah.
It's like magic. What is going on here?
Basically, the adjectives you use to describe other people
Yeah.
can get associated with you.
Wait, hold on. So if I describe someone as, I don't know, generous, people will start to see me as generous.
It's subtle, it's unconscious, but yeah, our brains link the qualities we describe to the person doing the describing.
Okay, that's a little alarming.
It is. It makes you think about the language you use.
It really does. If I'm always complaining about a coworker being lazy, am I going to start seeming lazy?
You might. It's a good reminder to, to be mindful of our words.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, last one. Subliminal touch. This is real.
It is. More powerful than you might think. We're talking brief, appropriate touch, like light touch on the arm.
Right.
It can create a sense of warmth and connection, even on a subconscious level.
You know, now that you mention it, I swear I always tip more when a server touches my arm while taking my order.
Uh-huh. It's not just you.
Really?
Yeah, they did a study on this. Waitresses who briefly touched their customers got bigger tips.
Okay, I can see how that works, but also this is one where it could go so wrong so easily.
Absolutely. Sensitivity is key here.
Yeah.
It's got to be appropriate. An unwelcome touch can obviously have the opposite effect.
Okay, we need to take a break. My brain is overloaded. Back in a bit for part 2.
It really is a lot to take in, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool when you think about it. Like, we're getting this inside look into how our minds work.
It's true. now we're aware of these tactics. It's like we've got this secret decoder ring for human behavior.
Very exciting.
We can spot these tricks and maybe even use a few ourselves, ethically, of course.
Of course, ethically, that's key.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's about understanding what's really happening in our interactions, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so since we're swimming in all this psychological insight, what if we try to spot some of these tricks in action, like in our own lives? It'll be like our own little psychology experiment.
Ooh, I like that.
Have you noticed any of these tactics being used, like, recently?
Let me think. Oh, you know what? I was reading a news article just the other day about a political campaign, and they were just hammering home these same talking points over and over again, even though some of them were, like, misleading,
Yeah.
taken out of context. It was classic repetition bias, you know?
Yeah. Like, they're just banking on the fact that people will start to believe something if they hear it enough times.
Exactly.
Even if it's not true.
Doesn't matter. Repetition, repetition, repetition.
It's frustrating. But you know what? I think I almost fell for the scarcity principle just the other day.
Oh, really? Tell me about it.
Okay, so I was online, right? And this ad pops up for like an online course I was kind of interested in. And they had all the classic scarcity tactics, limited spots available, a countdown timer ticking away, testimonials from people saying how amazing it was.
So did you sign up?
I almost did.
Yeah.
I was like clicking through the checkout page, and then I was like, wait a minute. We just talked about this.
You remembered.
I totally did. I
Yeah.
was getting all swept up in the manufactured urgency.
That's the goal. They want you to act without thinking.
And it made me think, like, what's the real reason they're using scarcity? Is it because the course is actually valuable, or are they just trying to pressure me?
Exactly. It's a good question to ask yourself anytime you see scarcity tactics.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so a friend of mine was telling me how they've been trying this mirroring technique to get a promotion at work.
Oh, interesting. So how are they doing it?
They're like subtly mirroring their boss's behavior, using similar phrases, matching their posture.
Trying to build rapport.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
I guess they read somewhere that it can make you seem more like likable and trustworthy.
It can. The idea is you're creating this sense of connection.
Yeah.
Like you're on the same page, you know?
You're speaking their language,
Yeah.
sending those subconscious signals.
Right. But it's got to be subtle, right?
Oh, yeah.
Can't be too obvious.
Like Andy from The Office.
Exactly. Don't be Andy.
It's got to be genuine.
It's about connection, not manipulation.
Okay, you know what? I think my neighbor has mastered the door in the face technique.
Oh, yeah. How so?
He is always trying to borrow stuff, like tools, lawn equipment. Once, he even asked to borrow my car.
Oh, bold.
I know, but he's gotten so good at this tactic, I don't even realize what he's doing until it's too late.
So tell me, how does he pull it off?
He starts by asking for something ridiculous.
Okay.
Like, can you borrow my car for a week? Of course I say no.
Right.
And then he's all, okay, well, maybe just for a couple hours to run to the store. And I'm like, oh, sure, no problem.
Classic.
It works every time.
Because that first request, it's so outlandish.
Yeah.
Then the smaller request seems totally reasonable.
Yeah.
And you feel bad for already saying no once.
What? It's so sneaky.
It is. But hey, now you know.
That's true. Next time, I'll be ready for him.
Exactly. Use that knowledge to your advantage.
Maybe I'll even door in the face him right back.
Uh-huh. There you go. Turn the tables.
Okay, I have to admit, I'm kind of excited to try some of this stuff out.
Me too.
But, with great power comes great responsibility, right?
Yeah.
We got to use this knowledge ethically.
Absolutely. This isn't about manipulating people.
Right.
It's about understanding how communication works, building stronger relationships.
Being more aware.
Exactly.
Okay, last one, and this one is a little meta. I think I caught myself using spontaneous trait transference the other day.
Really? Do tell.
Okay, so I was talking to my boss, and I was, trying to make a good impression. We were talking about a coworker, and I was describing how organized and efficient they are.
Okay. So far, so good.
I kept using all these positive words, right? Like reliable, diligent, and then it hit me. Am I subconsciously trying to associate myself with those same qualities?
It's possible. We often do this without even realizing it.
It's kind of freaky how our brains work, but at least now we're aware of it.
Exactly. Awareness is key. Now you can start to be more intentional with your language.
Yeah, it's about being mindful, right, of how we're shaping our own image.
Absolutely. Our words have power. They shape not only how we communicate, but also how we're perceived.
This has been such a mind-blowing conversation. We could probably talk about this stuff for hours.
I know, right? It's fascinating. There's so much more to explore, but we should probably wrap things up for now.
Yeah. Good idea. We'll be back in a moment for part three, where we'll share some final thoughts.
Okay, we're back. And honestly, I'm still processing all this stuff. It's like we've been given this like secret playbook for how to, hack human behavior.
Right. It is remarkable how these subtle little tactics can shape our decisions without us even realizing it. And we see them everywhere. It's not just advertising, it's our friends, family, even, ourselves.
Totally. We're all in this game, whether we know the rules or not. So now that we do know at least some of the rules,
Mm.
what do we do? What's the takeaway here?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? Now that we're aware of these tactics, I think the challenge is to use them, for good.
Right. Ethically, responsibly.
Mm.
So how can we take all this and actually, communicate better, build better relationships, just navigate the world with more confidence?
Okay, I have some thoughts. First off, awareness is huge. Just knowing this stuff exists, that's already a win. We can start to catch ourselves when, someone's trying to use this stuff on us. We can be more mindful.
Absolutely. Awareness is like the first step. It gives us the power to step back from a situation, analyze it, and then choose how we want to respond.
Yeah, and on top of that, I think it's about intention. Like, are we using these tactics to connect with people or just to manipulate them? That feels like the ethical line.
100%. It comes down to respect for others.
Right.
When we can use this knowledge to be more persuasive, to build rapport, but it's got to be authentic, done with good intentions.
Yeah. And I think it's also about balance. We don't want to be so hyper aware of all these tactics that we see them everywhere and we just become suspicious of everyone, right?
Right. That's not the goal. It's not about being paranoid.
Exactly. Gotta find that sweet spot. Skeptical, but still open, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Enhance our understanding, not make us afraid of everyone.
Right. So, to everyone listening, I encourage you, go out and observe the world. See if you can spot these tactics in action.
Become a student of human behavior. It's fascinating.
And who knows, maybe you'll discover some tricks that we haven't even talked about. The world is your lab. Until next time, happy deep diving.